Hi everyone! Welcome to another STEM tutorial. In today's tutorial, we'll be covering if statements in Python. So please open your Spyder in the Anaconda program and get ready to follow along. So let's start off by learning about if statements with an example. Let's pretend we told ourselves that if we got above 90% on our computer science exam, we would reward ourselves with 3 scoops of ice cream. We rocked with a grade of 95%, and as a result, we of course got our 3 scoops of ice cream. And this is essentially what an if statement is in a computer program, and we'll show this to you in a moment. What Python will do in an if statement is it will check, does a set of conditions hold true? So did we get above 90% on our computer science exam? And if so, then it will execute the statement. So for instance, we would get our ice cream. So let's start by programming this. So the first thing we need to do is define our grade as a variable. So I'll enter grade, our variable name, and let's pretend we got a grade of 92%. And now comes the if statement part. So to write an if statement in Python, what you have to do is the following. You type if, and then you write your condition. So in this case, we said if our grade is greater than 90%. We'll just do greater than right now and not greater than or equal to. And then after your if statement in Python, you always have to place a colon. And when you hit enter in Spyder, you'll see that we're automatically indented. And you always need to be indented to write the set of conditions that should be executed if your if statement holds true. And then we're going to print that you've earned 3 scoops of ice cream. And so now what you'll see is with our grade of 92, if we run this by, again, hitting this green play button, you'll have the message displayed that you'll get 3 scoops of ice cream. So let's just take a moment once more to look back at what we've typed and what's going on with Python. So here we see once more that our grade is a variable and we assigned its value to equal 92. And here all we do is we check, is the value of the variable grade, which is linked to 92, is this greater than 90? And the answer is yes. So then this statement here is printed and we see the output below. Now what happens if we had a grade of 80? Well, as expected, since 80 is not greater than 90, this statement here will not be executed. So if we see what happens when we hit play now, noting that we're here in line 2, all we'll see is that the file has run and nothing has been printed. But what we can do is we can add another statement to catch all the cases where the above statement isn't fulfilled. And this is simply done by typing else. So else, and again you put a colon in place, and then we can print another message. So we'll just say, gotta study harder. And so now what you'll see is in this case, if we run with a grade of 80, since it's not above 90, we're going to see our message here below. So I'll run this, again we'll check line 3, and we see our message, gotta study harder. So this really covers if and else statements. Now there's another component of if statements that I'd like to make you aware of, and it's called else if. In Python it's written as elif. So what you see is right now we have that if we get above 90%, we get 3 scoops of ice cream. But what happens if we get a grade above 80%, for which we would also like to reward ourselves? Well, what you would have to do is then print the elif, and then you can again write your conditional statement. So if our grade is greater than 80%, again, we're indented, and we can write whatever statement we'd like to have executed. So for instance, we'll print that we'll get 2 scoops of ice cream. And here again, we just have greater than. Let's make this greater than or equal to, so that if we have a grade of 80%, we do have this statement here printed. We can do the same here above. When we run this now, what's going to happen is Python is going to go through the statement one by one. So first it's going to check, is the grade above 90%? No. So I'll go to the next condition, elif. So else if the grade is greater than 80%, the answer is yes, so it's going to print that you get 2 scoops of ice cream. So we'll run this, and we'll see that we get these 2 scoops. So there are 2 last items that I'd like to cover with you. The first is, what if my grade equals a value? So what if our grade equals 100, for instance? So what we can do is we'll just make an Elif out of this. And here we're going to write a statement, if our grade equals 100. And here it's important, if you want a variable to equal a value, you have to put two equal signs for an if statement. So here, if our grade equals 100, again, don't forget the colon. And then we can print that you get a bucket of ice cream. And so now you'll see that if we have a grade of 100, this statement here will be printed. And the last item that I wanted to mention as well is that these statements here don't have to be print statements. So you could also use this to write some form of calculation, or even you could put an if statement in another if statement. So instead of printing, you get a bucket of ice cream, you could write another if statement inside an if statement, known as a nested if. So really you have a lot of possibilities. So just to recap what we learned today, we learned that if statements always have to start with an if. You write your condition and then you place your colon. And then if statements can be followed by else or else if statements, written as elif, where else catches everything that didn't meet the conditions above. So this wraps up our tutorial on if statements. We hope we could help you earn some scoops of ice cream. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe and like our video below. Finally, for more tutorials and quizzes, please check out our website, stem-tutorials.com. Thanks for watching.